Hey, y'all, come look at this.
What's up, Goblin Nation, and welcome back to the Goblin Show, where we cover all the brand spanking new Rell news. Now, honestly, with the lack of news that we've gotten lately, it felt a little silly to keep making Rell videos when there really isn't anything to talk about. So thankfully, Rell released a 40-minute long video that I'm going to go over. Now, for those of you geniuses out there who can count, 40 is a big number, so I'm not going to be going over the whole thing. In fact, I kind of wanted to start this one by just going over the leaks that they posted at the end of it. Specifically all the dev stuff, like the devlogs and like the sub-only stuff that was pretty private until now. Now, obviously, I'm a sub, so I've seen all this stuff already, but for a lot of you that haven't, I'm going to go through it and specifically point out stuff that I couldn't discuss before, because I do have a lot of thoughts on some of the stuff they showed and sneaks and devlog stuff that I'd seen forever ago. I think there's a lot of stuff in there that is cool to know, but also hints at more stuff in the game that we haven't seen yet, like weapon types or, something like dual wielding. And without further ado, don't forget to like and subscribe and buckle in because delicious times are ahead of you. The first thing I want to say is that I'm really glad they're showing off a lot of this devlog stuff, because a lot of people are really, going all doom and saying that like the game's never releasing and it's a scam. Personally, because I've been seeing this stuff, I know the game is being worked on, so I never really thought it was a scam or anything like that, and hopefully this convinces some people that were being really negative. And so the first devlog was about ship mechanics that they reworked. They were working on the build system when they first put this out. Something I think is pretty interesting is that they're working on an aerial mechanics system for ships. So I'm guessing we're going to be able to fly on ships to reach Skypiea and the other floating islands, which is pretty cool. I was just kind of assuming we'd take the blimps or maybe there'd be another way up. But if the ships can actually fly around themselves, that's really cool. It's funny, I'm guessing we can fly ships when the beginning of the 40-minute video was them flying a ship around in the air, so obviously this is confirmed. Another cool thing is that we're going to be able to launch a grapple hook from our ship to their ship to board them. I think that's really cool. The ship combat in this game really seems amazing compared to some of the other games. You can see here there are other attachments for a ship, like blades you can put on the front, different cannons. I think the focus on ships is something that most of these games really need to work on. Man, and don't get me started on how good these boss weapons look. Like, the designs are so fire. Just imagine being able to recolor them too. I just hope there's a system where you can layer like the aesthetic on a different weapon, like a skin. I think that would be really cool too. A lot of this stuff was kind of boring at first, where they were just showing off like materials that they added, and they did some physics stuff, but then we see some more animals, which I think are always nice to look at. I think wildlife and weather are like the two big things they need to do to make the environments feel like really alive. Now this is pretty cool. They actually added like a potion system. I'm assuming they're going to work similar to Minecraft potions, where they give you temporary buffs, although maybe that's how potions work in every game. I guess I'm not sure. Now, a lot of people thought that meals in general were going to work like this, but it looks like they're specifically making them juices or smoothies, so maybe food just is something you have to eat. Another big thing is that they have a hostage system that somehow ties into progression, like maybe you can turn people in for bounties. Although I guess I wouldn't call that a hostage system, I would call that like a capture system, but who knows. Now, a large chunk of these were just them working on clothing, because they had to like redo them all and actually fix the textures. I think everyone is kind of bored during this, unless you're really into the fashion like some of us. All these wildlife animations are really cool. I know they're reusing a lot of the mounts to also be wildlife. And earlier they said they were working on mount to wildlife animations. I wonder if that means that there's like a taming animation. I just assumed that it was just a reuse and they weren't actually like a capture mechanic or like a taming mechanic, but maybe that means there is one. Also, they've confirmed there is a ship coding mechanic to make your ship go underwater, so it looks like your ship can fly and go underwater. At what point do you not need blimps and submarines anymore? Who knows? They showed off a bunch of sound effects just to show that they put a lot of work into them. A lot of this is just making new assets for cooking, maybe like, outfits, pretty basic stuff. No, a lot of this clothing stuff is more boring, but I can't really complain since that is the loot we're going to be grinding for, so it is a huge part of the game. Obviously, they needed to upload all the armor. I think they said there was like 160 of them or something like that. Just a lot of armor they had to go through, so I understand why it took so long, especially when they're patching up little errors like this. Man, this is exactly the kind of stuff you could hire someone. Unfortunately, they always talk about how anytime they commission people, they just put in really bad work and they have to redo it themselves. And it just kind of sucks, because if they had good staff, they could probably be done by now. Yeah, look, 126 armor sets in Elden Ring, and they compared it to that. You know, a lot of people don't like the big armor sets. I think the silver looks really nice. Like, it's kind of knight-like, and I mean, there's some knight stuff in One Piece. And I really wonder how they're gonna balance stuff like rocket launchers. Like, obviously you can use guns, but if you just use a rocket as your primary weapon, is it gonna hit really weak? Is it gonna have a super long reload? Maybe it's easy to dodge. I have no idea how they would balance that. They worked on the water mechanics, pretty important stuff. Another really cool thing here is that they went through the cost breakdown, everything they've spent on Rell Seas. And I think this is probably because people kept saying it was an exit scam and they were going to take the money and leave. And they kind of go into the cost of like, we have no way of making that much money. We spent more than we've earned, stuff like that. Something crazy here is they gave us a rough kind of how much money they spent, and it's almost $400,000. It's crazy. This is probably the most expensive Roblox game ever made. And it's really hard to imagine when someone else is going to beat their price, you know? This is part of the reason I think it's so stupid when people are like, man, this game is taking way too long. It's like, nothing like Rell Seas has ever been made on Roblox, so I don't know. There really aren't any expectations. And during this week, they did a lot of cutscenes. 3 big ones they said were animated. I'm not sure if we've seen these before. That's kind of interesting. They said they worked on some building sets too, which I think is cool. I wonder if they'll let us use them to decorate like our ship. Maybe we can, you know, get like a room we rent and it'll just, you know what would be a cool idea is if you could design a room and anytime you rented like in a hotel or I guess whatever they call them, inns, it would just kind of load your room into that like blank space and it would always have your design. I think that'd be cool. I think other games have tried similar things like that. And they showed off the updated marine outfits. I think these all look really good. They might be a little too shiny, like that one might have a little too much gold for my taste, but hopefully you can just choose another one and it's not like tied to your rank. And here they say they worked on the global cruise system for like parties and stuff, and it seems like they'll have a leaderboard for like bounty, which is kind of cool. I know a lot of people have been asking for that. Here they show off some of the changes they did to the inside of buildings. You can see how boring it looked before, and then the new one actually looks like a place people would actually spend time in. Oh, and this one was huge when it first got announced. They announced like a day-night cycle, so you could actually use the mink transformation. Now, a lot of people didn't even know if the mink transformation was going to be in the game. It was never mentioned anywhere, and we weren't sure if the races were going to get different like abilities like that. But they confirmed that the mink gets one, so I'm pretty sure the other races are going to get unique things too. And here they worked on a lot of the bugs with the ship mechanics. They've been kind of trying to polish those. I know the recent testing sessions were pretty much all ship combat just so they could figure it out. And here they actually tease a hunting system, like you can hunt down whales and maybe other big fish like leviathans. It's so cool how they made a bunch of the wildlife just swim around. Like, I know at some point they mentioned that they added the wildlife to the seas because before it was just like the whales and other stuff you could actually fight. And those little fish in the background weren't really swimming around, so it was kind of empty. They showed off more submarine stuff, some hairstyles, which are always nice, a new boss. I think he looks pretty cool. I think I need to see him colored in to see what he's really going to look like. Now, I love this underwater city because it really reminds me of Rapture from BioShock. Pretty cool. Now, here's something that gives me hope that the game will actually come out sometime soon and not like in December, is that they started already ranking people in the Discord for like based on how long they've been subscribed. This is so they know who to let in first for the CC. Now, obviously the CC is going to come out first, so who knows when the actual game will release. Maybe that will be in December. Man, the before and after on that red armor specifically is so crazy. Like, the before one is so ugly compared to the new one. Okay, the boss actually looks pretty good, actually colored in and everything. I think a lot of the boss designs they've been sharing have been really cool. Like, this underwater one is pretty sick. And then they just show off some more material stuff. Now, I think it's really nice that they actually listened to the feedback and added more Afro-centric hair. I know people always ask for that in all these anime games, and they just only have like 3 options. So it's nice to see them actually looking at the feedback. Some more epic hairstyles, and then he goes on to show a couple bosses too. Oh, and they redesigned the customization screen for when you're at the main menu changing your character. Oh man, that city looks so cool. You can tell the locations are just getting bigger and better the more they get experience and just keep upping the quality. And then here's like a tester screenshot. Man, I want to test so bad. More tester, screenshots and stuff. Oh yeah, and the ship customization, you actually go to a bottle. It's so cool. I feel like little details like this just really make me nerd out, you know? More bosses. I think that dude's sword looks pretty cool. I wonder if you can get that as a drop. Maybe something similar. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the bosses have weapons that could be really cool as drops. Although I think they do like a material system so you can actually craft in this game. Oh yeah, and if you zoom in on the ship, you can actually see where the turrets and stuff are. That's so cool. Now something I'm wondering, if I'm customizing my ship and my friend's behind me, will he see my ship or his? And can you only do it when you're on board your ship? Because it looked like they might have been in the cabin, so I'm not sure. Oh, and we finally got some more mink visualization and fishmen. Now, a lot of people are really worried that it would just be like the ram's horns on the head, but it looks like you can also get a tail and some other stuff. I wonder if you can mix and match, or maybe you're stuck to like one species of animal. Who knows? The way they got the cloth to actually move is so nice. And here's some new assets. Now, these chests are really odd. I wonder when you're going to actually see those in the game. Maybe they're like super rare chests that have better loot. Now I'm kind of assuming that all bosses will have drops and stuff like that, but I feel like, you know, Monster Hunter gives you that vibe where like, oh look, every new creature, it's like, I wonder what armor you make, I wonder what weapon you have. And I feel like Rell Seeds is going to give that feeling to a lot of people where it's like, oh, a new boss, I wonder what gear I can get out of it. And that's such a cool feeling. Oh man, and the fact that that sniper actually has a scope is so cool, since we haven't really seen a lot of that. I'm just hoping we can actually look down the scope and snipe at someone, and it's not just like a visual that gives you more accuracy. Oh man, this armor from that cat boss actually looks so cool too. Huge fan of like I really like the designs that have like one shoulder, you know? It's like not symmetrical. Oh yeah, this armor set looks so cool too. But this crab might be my favorite boss they've designed. It has like a crashed ship on top of it. It looks so awesome. I can't wait to fight it. Now personally, I think these boss weapons are extra cool because they're different weapon types too. So I wonder if like weapons are going to be sorted into classes. Oh, and these dual pistols actually kind of raise a lot of questions too, because does this mean you can dual wield? And if you can dual wield, can you only dual wield if it's a dual wield weapon, or can you mix and match pistols? I think that's a big question I'm really curious about, because if you have to use like pistols that come in a set, that does kind of restrict you. Maybe you can apply like the visual of two different guns, but I don't know, maybe you still need to use dual pistols as like an actual item or weapon. A lot of cool little assets. I personally think Steroid Bear is a really funny thing to call that guy, but you know, maybe he is just injecting steroids. I don't know. More hairstyles, kind of boring, but you know, a lot of the basic stuff is kind of boring, even if it is necessary. Some more island assets. I think this stuff is cool. I definitely think it'll be cooler to see it in game, so it's not really that exciting to see it here. More cake stuff for Whole Cake. The best arc in the show. I know, controversial opinion. Something I think is interesting is that they actually changed Water 7 to be Sky 7 as like a kind of a parody, I guess, and also because I think they wanted their sky area to be like more interesting than just Skypiea. Makes me wonder if we'll see more variations like that, like maybe we'll get like a sky version of like Thriller Bark. Man, the city really just looks so big. I wonder like how small you're gonna feel when you're actually in the middle of a giant city like that. It's crazy that they optimized it to actually run on like lower end hardware. Some cool new like fountain assets, nothing too flashy. But what I'm more interested in is that hidden dragon boss right there, and then the hidden monkey boss. What do they mean by hidden? Are we gonna have to find these bosses? Is there like a secret way to get to them? Do they have extra special loot? Like, is there a reward because they're hidden? There's a bunch of hidden ones. Maybe there's 7 of them because there's like, you know, Sky 7, but I don't think they're connected to Sky 7, honestly. I think stuff like secret bosses, secret loot is exactly what Rell Seeds needs, because let's say there's like 100 bosses on the surface. If you hide like 10 of them, or like even 8, it makes the game feel so much bigger, because you're going to be checking every crack, every crevice. You're going to be looking for every secret, and I think Roblox specifically is really good for hiding stuff too. So if they hide a bunch of stuff in this game might be like game of the year for me. I mean, who am I kidding? It's already gonna be game of the year for me. And that's all I got for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a while since I uploaded, so it definitely feels a little strange to be kind of getting back into it. I know every time I take a break, the first video back is always the hardest, because you know it's like a mindset thing, I think. And so I hope you enjoyed. I think I'll probably release a couple more videos on you know, on this 40-minute not movie 3 they released. I think I want to do one about the submarines and maybe something else. Comment below if you have an idea for what I should go over specifically. Maybe the mode system and the combat that they showed off. I think that could be kind of cool too. Anyways, thanks for watching. I love you guys, and if you made it this far, definitely subscribe and join the Discord in the description below as well, since we're always trying to get more people in there.